So I've tried to set those scenes before we do the lightest of simple little 5-10 minute meditation practice together, because I wanted to give the underpinnings and the foundations of it. And I want to say that what I'm about to do with you is not those lovely things where someone helps you enter into a blissful state and a nice state. Okay, that's not what we're about to do. We're about to try and tackle becoming students of work, actually, of discipline. The discipline of beginning to educate the mind towards a calmer state. So you're going to sit down and we're going to pick a keyword from Andy, which is attention. There's something called the default network in the mind, which is when you don't direct the mind, it will go wherever it wants. It goes into what's called the default state, what the neurologists call a default state. And you know where that usually takes you. Where does your mind go? Does it take you to calmness and peace, joy, warmth? Not really, does it, people? Have you noticed? And this is actually a bias, biological bias in the mind. It's called the negativity bias. It's forever trying to think what might go wrong and taking us into the imaginary worlds of the past and the future. We've not just got arthritis. Now we're living with a movie in our head, seeing ourselves of our future destroyed, worthless, lack of usefulness, isolated, etc., right? This is the mind at work. But what we did in the Tai Chi was you chose to direct your attention. So this is a key in meditative work in a very broad sense. So you begin with some anchors, and that could be movement, it could be breath, it could be a whole range of beautiful things. I'm just going to teach a wee sequence to give you a couple of possible sort of scaffolding that you could build on. And just to begin to build a couple of components of that, could you just now tap into the feelings from your right foot? Ask yourself a silly question. Is it still there? And see what happens. Do you notice what happens? The consciousness, the attention streams down and tunes into it. Do you notice that? Can you begin to feel now how it is? Maybe the pressure, the clothes and so on. Here's a puzzle. Where were those feelings before I asked you to feel them? Because they must be there, right? So the body is full of sensations and stuff all the time, and the default network's monitoring them. But what you're going to do, as you just did, was take command of your attention, and you directed it to your feet. Now do the same with your hands. Are your hands still there? Feel that? Okay. So one, you're going to direct attention. And then what do you think's going to happen? What happens when you place your attention on something? Your mind wanders. Agreed? And it goes back to the default network. So the more your mind wanders, the more practice you're going to get of noticing it's wandered. It's a critical moment. That's called waking up, all right, or awareness. Oh yeah, I was meditating, wasn't I? And therefore you can lead your attention back. This is a circle. I give it the colours of the traffic lights. Red for automatic pilot, your mind's wandered. You don't know it because you've become your mind and you're away with it, right? Amber, you wake up. Oh, wait a minute. I was trying to do some meditation, wasn't I? Green, action with command, self-control. You bring your attention back to the anchor points that we'll go through. And so your whole meditation practice might consist of nothing more than sitting down and discovering with a shock how busy your mind is and what a struggle it is to bring it back. And that's you doing your meditation practice. Every time you go around the circle, you are strengthening pathways in the brain. And as these pathways grow and get insulated and myelinated, they're more accessible. And why do this? Because in ordinary daily living, We want more ability that when our mind wanders in directions which take us into the red that we looked at, the snake state, the anxiety, the lack of peace, the worry, the fear, the sadness, we're beginning to get a reflex ability. We're building muscle to say, no, wait a minute, and to enter that amber and to bring the mind back. So that's the basic meditation process, right? And then it becomes a palette on which you can build lots of other lovely things, like contemplative practice, quiet, silent reflection, for example, or critically, waking up a warm heart. And we'll do that. We'll wake up a wee bit of warm-heartedness, which is you taking charge. This is self-charge. Okay, so let's do this. There's no big fuss about it, okay? It's not a large religious ritual or, we're not going to enter the astral plane or levitate. It's really quite practical at one level. And I'd ask you now to gather up, which is an important bit of meditation, gather up your attitude to prepare yourself, right? In other words, to say to yourself, right, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring myself to this practice. Get your posture ready so that it's a bit dignified and applied. This bit isn't so useful for those that are in the background cooking or doing other things. You really need to bring yourself to it. So when you're ready, if you're comfortable, close your eyes. Okay, and what do? We bring your attention to the fact that you're sitting here, if you're sitting, in the space you're in, and you're going to decide to do a bit of meditation practice. You're already coming to awareness. Notice and accept the environment you're in. Just the room you're in, any sounds, the atmosphere, the temperature against your skin, so on. Good. It is as it is. Now, again, directing your attention, notice your body sitting in the chair. Can you feel the points of contact of it? Can you just scan it very briefly for a few seconds to notice how it is and accept how it is? Is it tired, sore, stiff, etc., low energy, feeling good? And in doing this, you're becoming the observer. You're no longer just the automatic mind. You're observing. And what about your mental state? How is it? Just look at it from the point of view of an observer. Is it busy, pressurized, bored, tired, distracted? How's your mood? That done, that checking in. Now we begin to narrow attention. Are my feet still there? Allow your attention to stream down. Check it out. See what sensations you can bring your attention to. So we're bringing the power of intention as a driving force, and it's guiding attention. Oh yeah, my feet, okay. And my hands, are they still there? So we're using these sensations as anchors. Good. And in exactly the same way, it's not any more complicated, is the center of my chest still there? And then when your mind wanders, thank yourself for noticing. Come back to sitting in the chair. Maybe if it's needed, feel your feet again for a few seconds in your hands and back to the center of your chest. And the whole practice might simply consist of that, going around that circle. And now, can we deepen your tuning into the center of your chest to remember that you have a heart beating there? Oh yeah, my heart. I've got a heart just for me. It's been beating since in the womb, every moment for me. Maybe you can begin to become aware of it. Maybe it'll become to beat and you'll feel that, or you put your hand in your chest to feel it, or you visualize it, We're bringing a heart focus there in the center of our chest. And if our mind wanders, fine. We notice, we come back. If we can, we go straight back to our heart beating, or we go through the steps of the anchors again. Sitting here with my heart and coming now to the breath. Oh yeah, my breath. A beautiful breath. Just noticing it. Don't change anything. Become curious about it. Maybe even you could feel little bits of gratitude for your breath in your heart. So sit here. Follow the waves of the breath for a wee while. Get curious about that movement now between the in and the out. The out and the in, there's a pause. You could even allow your consciousness to just enter the pause for a brief moment. Note the stillness of that. The breath is a wonderful anchor for focusing the attention. And many disciplines use it in many ways. For our part now, let's see how you would like to explore bringing together the heart and the breath, as if you're breathing into the heart and away from the heart. Making this like a safe harbor, place to come to in the center of your chest and the center of your being. Even sometimes we can add in a touch of visualization, as if in the in-breath we gather up the cloud of whatever strain or stress and into the heart where there's a beautiful fire burning that transforms it and radiates it into light as we breathe out, radiating throughout ourselves. Or be in charge. Any of this doesn't feel right, don't do it. And as your mind wandered, where is it now? Do you need to bring it back? Here, my heart beating and my breath. And then finally, you might want to add in a wee touch of a heart-warming feeling, like a warming emotional feeling. Maybe today we could think of gratitude. Could we even be grateful to our heart and our breath for what it does for us? Could we even be grateful? If it's comfortable for you, please be in charge. To think of the rest of our body, including our joints, grateful for the strain they take on our behalf and the pain they deal with on our behalf, and for the efforts that they make for us. I'm going to go quiet now for just 1 or 2 minutes, and you just practice, and that's the key word. Mind wandering, notice, come back through the anchors, back towards the harbour, the safe haven in the centre of ourselves, our heart, our breath, and maybe some heartwarming. Where is my mind now? I wandered, coming back through whatever steps. Coming back to the center of my chest, heart beating for me. You might even feel a physical warmth of comfort there in the center of our chest sometimes. It might even radiate throughout ourselves, throughout our bodies, comforting us, comforting our body, making friends with our body and ourselves. And then when you're ready, all you do quite simply is begin to re-expand your awareness, tuning in again, coming back to your senses. Oh yeah, my body sitting in the chair, sitting in this space, feeling pressure points on my body, becoming aware of the space, the air and temperature against my skin, and then opening your eyes, maybe gazing softly for a couple of seconds as need be, and then give yourself a wee stretch. Well, that was terrible, wasn't it? Imagine having to do that. Doesn't this man know how busy I am? I don't have time to do that. I have so many things to do, doesn't he know about my childhood? Hasn't he seen the x-ray of my knee? Get real. I'm not going to do that. So this will be interesting to see if you do it for yourself. I recommend you start with 2 minutes a day. That's all. Right? So you bust from a statement you don't have time. And it means gathering up your motivation, your memory, with the structure, whatever you have to do, setting the conditions, sitting yourself down, applying yourself, the discipline, the work. And remember, your job is that I was acting as your voice. This is self-directed. Okay, in the learning stages, feel free, of course, to rewatch the replay or take some notes and so on. But your goal is self-mastery, beginning to be the parent to the child of the mind. Your mind's just a child, people. It doesn't understand. Don't, for God's sake, put it in charge of your life.